First of all, man, let me just say to you, thank you uh, for joining us. Um, the podcast is called Takeoff because that's exactly what we're going to do. It's coincidental that you and I are coming together when I have history, but you have so much history, and you're a part of the trajectory of where the industry is taking off to. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited that we're talking during the culminations, kind of Black Music Month.
Yeah.
And the acknowledgement of Juneteenth, a national, federal holiday.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
So many tears.
I know. So man, let me just say again, thank you for joining me. I'm not going to talk to you like I don't know you, but I'm going to talk to you like my audience don't know you.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. You're like family in more ways than one. Okay, and in some cases you are family. From our Warner Brothers days, the Parlay days, and seeing you today, man, and seeing the things that are happening, and seeing how you navigate through the space and deal with the, you know, how people talk about, oh man, you do this and I do that, and I run into a brick wall. You know how to navigate the brick walls, something a lot of people don't do well. I'm thinking Anderson .Paak when I say that, but to just put that there. I don't know what you're going to want to say about that and what you're not going to want to say, but I am going to go there. So I just want to say to people who may not know you, a lot of people in the industry know you and know you well, that folks are going to want to listen to what you have to say because you bring a lot of substance. You're astute enough to know the past and clever enough and focused enough to be a trailblazer to the future. So I'm honored, my brother, to have you here.
The honor is completely and wholeheartedly all mine. Yeah. And if you were being interviewed on a podcast today and I was just a guest in the audience, I was cool with that. I thought that's what I was doing. I was like, how come? I support Ernie, yeah.
Yeah, no, not quite. So thanks for being on time. More so, since you were thinking that way. So let me ask you, man, what have you been up to?
Oh man, I'm still fighting the good fight on a constant day to day. I'm still managing clients. I think I told you about my connection with Jeffrey Harrelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did a joint venture with him for Poo Bear, and that company is called Birthday Music. So I guess what I've been doing is business affairs and managing businesses for artists, businesses that have gone to the wayside for major labels and new technology services, and kind of leading them to talent in a real way.
Okay.
Last night, I got a trailer for a film I'm producing. Mm-hmm. I got the trailer from the director, and it's Coke Daniels. He sent me the trailer, and I was like, why didn't you post this? And I was like, wait a minute. It's probably too early for him, 5 a.m. or something like that in Atlanta. Let me not call him, but let me look and search and see why he didn't post this, because we were trying to promote the film and in hopes that things get sold and turned around. Mm-hmm. He didn't post it because he was giving TMZ the interview and the exclusive.
Exclusive, okay.
I'm the first person on the team when I searched last night to see what TMZ had to say about the film. First of all, they announced that it was sold to BET Plus. Second of all, they completely gave it a thumbs up as a must-see.
Awesome.
They gave it the highest kudos. And thirdly, they announced the producers, and I was very proud to be a part of that team. My first Hollywood IMDb credit as a film producer. Wow. So that is, come on, I'm like, what?
That's big. That's huge. So what's the film's name again?
Karen.
you and I know some Karens, so we won't go there.
Well, that's what the film is about.
Is it really?
It's about all the Karens that we probably have seen over the past year.
Okay.
And then some. It's a thriller. I'm excited for people to check the trailer. It's out now. You can go to TMZ and pull up Karen, the film. I don't know when this is airing for us, your podcast.
Okay.
But it'll be out starting now because it's out.
Okay. Excellent.
The film comes out in September. But yeah, I mean, so I've been up to trying to produce feature films in Hollywood and figured out a way to leverage my music backdrop to be of service, in a big way here.
Well, you have always had a very sharp eye for talent. I'm impressed that you're diving into the film side as well. Congratulations on that. I mentioned your sharp eye for talent because let's talk about Anderson .Paak. You played a very major role in taking this artist from unknown to well-known. Tell us a little bit about that.
There's no reason why I don't enjoy speaking about Anderson. Can I say that without Daryl, who I haven't seen on this call once, without you, without the opportunity to understand that mentorship, I'll call it what it is. It's a mentorship. I wouldn't have understood how to work with this guy because he was already overtly talented. I kind of hate the word discovered someone. I may have been able to create discovery for others by giving him a platform.
You gave him access, wouldn't you say? I thought you did.
Yeah. I think that I knew which doors to go to. He knew what he wanted, but he didn't know how to execute his, desire. And I had been up that block several times and gone all the way to the mountaintop, rang the bell, but it wasn't something I owned.
Did you ring the bell loud?
On the other occasion, sure, Flo-Rida, I think that's a big bell to ring, and I had a good time with his career. But the Anderson thing was different because it was music I really, really listened to and got down. And so taking him from 0 to 60, as they say, I look at it.
I call it 0 to hero, but okay. You get 60.
I am just honored to be a part of it. And, it to me will become something of a career to be Rebel for the Times. And, that was a thing that I have been, am still with, and all about supporting and seeing artists' dreams come to light.
Well, I commend you. I commend you for how you even transitioned with him. That was monumental. It was heartbreaking for me, but monumental because it is a business, and and as long as you properly compensated in the transition, it is what it is. Those things happen, but obviously you did something monumental to bring Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre them out of the woodworks. So that hats off to you, my brother. Yeah, and you don't have to comment on that because I know it's a lot there, but people are talking.
Listen, I enjoy people to speak. One thing is for sure, and again, Ernie, I can't thank you enough because you actually showed me that we are a unit and a family. Now, we're going to get a little deeper, hopefully, about the disenfranchised Black music executive.
Yeah.
And why it's so important for that to have had existed. Because if I hadn't seen our family and been able to look over at the other executives that I was not a peer to, but I was an admirer of, and I was in the room and I was a fly on the wall, and I had an opportunity to see you all move and navigate the murky waters of ownership, the murky waters of corporate takeovers, the real trenches that existed for us as a unit when this conversation of the family and why we were all intertwined and connected. If I hadn't understood that, I probably would be, beating myself up about, why things didn't go my way or blah, blah, blah. But because I had an opportunity to understand that we all are intertwined and connected. And, my biggest thing is that you have a bridge. Don't burn it. You may need to go back over it. You have a bridge. Use the bridge for something else.
We'll cover a lot on this call. Tell me a little bit more about your relationship with Jeff Harleston and what prompted him giving you a label.
Well, I think Jeffrey is a very accomplished businessman, and he could have called me and said, "Hey, Adrian, we want to go to the store. Let's go over there and go shopping." I'd have showed up. I am, it's not too hard to get me on the phone. It's not too hard to entice me to do something. But, my team, and I work with some very genius additional managers, shall I say. Ali Darwish, he put together the studio the Poo Bear owns and operates called Black Star. When you walk into this studio, there's no doubt you're in a dream, environment. And, one of my best friends, one of my closest buddies, I don't know if you remember Jordan Bucky, but he and I bucked the system many moons ago, starting our own distribution company called Worldwide Heavyweight. And that guy is, if you think I'm a hustler, wait till you get a load of him.
I don't think I know Jordan, and maybe I do.
He used to be on Sandy Gallen's desk. So let me start with that.
Wow.
And now he has not, since having worked for Sandy, he never took another job in the business. He's been an independent entrepreneur. He's somebody I'm proud to call a brother and a friend. I've known him for over plus 20 years. And he brought Ali together with me. So it's a black guy, the Jew, and three guys walking up the street and having a conversation. And Ali is like, I really would like to get some support with this Poo Bear thing. And Jordan's like, Adrian's the guy. And Ali and I didn't really know one another. And I'm proud to say that he's now become family. And we've put our heads together. And I said, who should have his own label? He's got artists. He should be doing his own thing. And this is right around the time where, Lucien and the team at Universal is making statements about what they are going to do to change the environment of social equity. They're professing their love for us. And I don't know if you've seen Poo Bear, but if you can't see black in him, then you blind. Okay. If you can't hear black in him, then you dumb.
No, for people who don't know Poo Bear, he's about as black. There's a bicycle tire behind you. Poo Bear is about that shade of black. But musically, phenomenal. Talent-wise, incredible.
I won't give too much of what Poo Bear is or what he does, but let's just say he's one of our very most legendary gems. And if you can do a little study, you'll find out who he is. But he is worthy of his own company, and he's doing his business. He's a serial entrepreneur. But let's talk about the music portion of him.
But before that, doesn't he have like the #1 record in the world right now? Come on, Adrian. Yeah, everybody doesn't know. Everybody doesn't know his greatness, man.
He's got #1 records on Justin. Not
Timberlake, Bieber.
And, here's the real thing about him. He's publishing that song.
Yes.
So, hello.
Yeah. I get my peaches out of Georgia, too, so I get it.
So, yeah, he's got a frequency. I like to learn from him on a lot of things about what he sees for himself, because he feels like, his frequency is up now. And you know about the wave better than anybody. You better ride it till the wheels fall off. If you on it, you better get on that and get going. And so he did that. And what I was trying to do for him and with him is prepare the artist. Again, it's an ever starting carousel of preparation leading to success potentially. And we are in the midst of it. We got some fantastic dynamic artists. I don't know that I could talk about them in a way where we give them a really fair shake, but just know that birthday music, BEAR, birthday music, is about to be household, and it's something that Def Jam I think really needed. You know, with Snoop over there now, we're having a real good time because we're doing something no one else is doing. We're bringing. Think about the birthday party.
So what you and Jeffrey have Snoop doing? Is Snoop like overseeing or listening or giving you guys directions and advice on?
So
what's cool and what's not? Because Snoop is the master of the cool factor.
Right. So in all fairness, Naeem, Jeff, and the team at Def Jam, they're great with us. I have no clue what business they're doing with Mr. Snoop Dogg, but I'm a fan, you know, and I'm in the company in a real way. I was just talking to our good friend Jeff Burrows, and you know, I'm very familiar with Bruce Carbone, Jeff Burrows, EP, Rodney, everybody over at Def Jam. I'm good with.
Yes. I
didn't know who was there until we started mixing it up and getting behind the scenes. And again, you're the through line with me as family.
Yeah.
I've known these guys for so long. And, you know, I had no relationship to Jeffrey, but mentioning your name changed the entire dynamic of the conversation.
Mentioning my name when? Today?
No, to him.
Yeah. Well, Jeff is family.
Yeah. So
family,
that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. Like, I couldn't go to a through line and go, hey, you know, Ernie is my mentor, to Jeffrey Harleston, and it mattered if he wasn't family, you know, but it changed, like, from us being just business guys to it kind of going a lot like that.
Wow. Good to hear that. Okay, yeah. Tell Jeffrey his Gallup poll rating went up since you told me that. Look, I want to ask you about something, though. I want to shift a little bit because I know our time is not going to be, we can't do this forever. There's been a lot of talk about the extinction of the Black music executive and the resurgence of independent artists and labels. Something you know a lot about. Your take and your comment on that.
I'm gonna keep it funky and a buck, as they say. There are no Black music executives worth their grain of salt if they don't understand from whence they've come. They don't know the Hank Caldwells of the world. They don't know the Ernie Singletons of the world. They don't understand how the Sylvia Rones of the world, et cetera, so on and so forth, have come from being made senior VPs, being made presidents of labels, being honored in the company by the prestigious board members that understood, hey, we need to have not just a face, but someone who actually knows how to guide this company in a correct way, who knows how to bring in a team that can be competitive with the other companies that are becoming competitive. Skip Miller, Benny Medina.
Yeah.
These are individuals that showed me how to do the business at hand, how to do marketing, promotions, A&R, go sweep up the corner, Adrian.
And you would do it. You wore all the hats.
I think it's important, you know, people talk about, I don't need a manager, or I don't need a label. Whereas once upon a time, everybody wanted to be a rapper and everybody wanted their own label.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's one thing about the business that I hear often that I'm like, kind of troubles me, which is you don't need a college degree to be in the record game. And I tell people, yeah, because college you out in 4 years. In the business of music, it takes 10 plus to just get your feet wet.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a master's program across the board in any skill set. If you spend 10 years doing something, you better be a master at the end of it. But to be uncertified, unqualified, or just simply not know your history, that's just stupidity. And I unfortunately see that more often than not. But these labels, they do need guides, not just spirit guides, because praise the Lord, they need that too. They need guides into cultural understandings that they have zero information on. And, you know, I'm not caught up in the conspiracy theory of, you know, such and such label. All they do is sign you and kill you. Well, why would you want to sign over there?
Yeah. But there's a lot of misinformation.
Oh,
you know, I'm going to ask you to give me your 60-second pitch or take on June is Black Music Month. and more and more and more, to me, it seemed like it was beginning to be diminished. And then something happens and it gets a bit of a spotlight or a spur. And I don't know if it's just a handful of us in the Black community in music industry, but I haven't seen it really expand to really be acknowledged, and maybe that's me being out of touch. What's your spin on the whole Black music thing? And then we'll come back to talk about streaming.
Black Music Month to me is every month. June might be the one month that we get a little bit more of a spotlight versus not. But we can't be the number one everything in all the charts everywhere and number one all the time. So I'm not going to let that go and just let it slide by that we don't do this every month. So Black Music Month is every month we have a Black representation of somebody with talent in the top of any category, categorically speaking. Since you said music, I will say that the frequency of what we do of music and how we are learned about our music, it kind of has to say it may not be what it should be now, simply because, okay, we don't have Black executives. They can't support Black periodicals or outlets for that instance. I'm very happy that BET does their presentation, because once upon a time they were the pinnacle of what we do as Black people. They were the enterprise that we wanted to be involved with their tier. And so for them to do their presentation, their awards, they're honoring
Black excellence.
Yeah, ceremoniously kind of works hand in hand. And, I will even reach over to what Reggie Hudlin and Oprah are doing for, Father's Day this go around. So, they're honoring our kings. I feel like all of this is hand in hand in entertainment for us. And it's not a loose leaf. It's a hardbound book that we either read and understand and respect, or we shelf it and we don't look at it for long, but it exists no matter what.
So well said. There's a lot of talk about, there's always been a lot of talk about our music and our music evolution. From when it was vinyl and it went from vinyl to CD, from when it was CD and it went from CD to download, when it was downloads to streaming. And now we're even streaming performances. Live streaming and streaming. How do you see that evolving? And there's something I think you know a lot about. And our audience may know a lot about it, they may not. But empowerment or suppressive? How do you see streaming and live streaming?
It's a lot of both, but let's be selective on how we say empowering, because a fool and their money soon part. And you don't know what your ownership is tied to. You don't understand how to operate. What's the point in owning a master? What's the point in saying, hey, I can do this without the backing of someone who actually has an understanding of what it is you're supposed to do to put music into the marketplace. But let's not slide the entire streaming platform business. The DSPs are extremely smart, such as here we are right now doing a podcast, streaming it. There's only one way to get this podcast. Now, maybe we could burn it to DVD. Go down to the swap meet, sell a few podcast DVDs. Maybe we could.
Maybe.
Actually, we have the capacity. We've done DVDs before. Yeah. But to me, like that empowerment of, again, it's not forgetting where you come from once you come. So I recently spoke to one of the owners at Spotify, Daniel. Super smart, super educated. He gets it, but he also is panicked slightly because, where do you go from here? All you can do is tick more consumers with more time on your platform. But rest assured, it's not the only platform, and it will never be the only platform. Yeah. So he's got his own fair share of competition. I hope that we utilize these platforms in the best ways in honoring our own art and being in a position to equate it for betterment in our own community.
So I got a big one for you. I've known you too damn long, but if you could sit down with your 25-year-old self, I don't know, and give some advice on how to be successful in today's music and entertainment environment or space, what would you say to 25-year-old Adrian Miller?
I say, I know you're not going to hear this.
Not going to hear it.
And you're not going to listen to me. You're barely going to sit still long enough for us to have this conversation. But if you can just hold tight, my guy, for 2 seconds, being secure in your own space, you're on the right page. Listen more. Listen more to the ones, to your elders. Don't just pay attention, but get involved. It's so many things I wish I had done at 25, Ernie, that I could have did, that I let go right by me. But I'm very proud of, having done the whole thing the traditional way, going to school, getting out of school, coming, back to LA to kind of set my sights on success. And, at 25, what was I doing at 25? I was working for Stephen Rifkin. So I was in a really good...
At Loud Records?
Yeah. Well, we definitely were Loud Records at the time.
Why you say that?
Because we had music playing in the background. It was loud in the room. Okay. Fabian Duvernay, I'll give my big brother props because he came up. Yeah, Faye came up with Loud Records. Now, there's a bit of an argument with he and I because Bill Stephanie had Soul.
Wow.
With you, remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
Okay. This is what you don't know when I say pay attention. Because when I didn't know Ernie, I was an intern for Bill Stephanie's company. I had business cards.
Wow.
Soul. Okay. Sound of urban listeners.
Yes.
So the argument was, I actually interned for Bill Stephanie's company. Fade did not work for Bill Stephanie's company. Fade said he came up with listeners of urban dialect. Loud.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I actually worked for the place that had the same acronym, so I don't know. But that's Big Bro, so I give him his prop. He did. And but at 25, I was working for Stephen Rifkin, and he never admits it, but he did fire me.
Steve fired you?
Oh, he fired me so hard it was fresh. I cried for almost 4 hours because I didn't have a job, and I thought I was gonna have to go back to St. Louis. I was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my 25-year-old self, I would just simply advise to get up under an elder statesman and really learn the business at hand and be proactive with what I'm learning. Like, don't just sit there and act like get involved, get hands-on. Do the things you don't understand why you would need to do those things to get to where you're going, because we don't understand everything. We don't have the foresight at that stage.
Where do young people get that start today? I talked about your 25-year-old self. Where do you tell people who are tuned in, or who have kids that are tuned in, or artists or creative people aspiring to take that journey? What would you recommend?
Well, I don't know. What is this called? The TAKEOFF podcast?
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually just stream it where?
Everywhere.
It's at your fingertips, kids. You look to the TAKEOFF podcast, I think you're fairly in the right direction. If your parents can get you on the TAKEOFF podcast, I think you are on point. I think that it's everywhere. Knowledge is power, but it's everywhere and it's accessible. And Ernie, you're doing a podcast, for Christ's sake. Look, they have access to you. I couldn't get a podcast with you at 25.
But you did have Loud Records. But were you a paid member, or were you an intern with Loud?
No, I was paid. I was on the staff. Yes, I was one of the initial staff members.
So you were ahead of the class, because most of my interns weren't paid in the beginning.
Well, no. I wasn't interning at Loud. I had a full-on job there.
Yeah.
A whole nother story. But I did do my internship for PMP, for Paul Stewart. And yeah, he did pay me, but kind of.
Well, yeah, Paul is still paying people.
Yeah, he's paying it forward. And love Paul. I was just with him maybe last week. We were hanging out. And you know what? I so admire those that have given me just a little bit of their time and energy so I can learn a lot of bit of what I know now. And Paul definitely is one of those guys. Paul, like I said, my big brother is Fabian Duvernay. So I learned how to market the heck out of anything just by standing in his presence. So it's just great.
Well, I hope you're bringing Fade into the new Poo Bear label. But don't answer that. I got a question for you now. Universal Music Group duly pledged $25 million. I'm going to the all of the social unrest that we experienced, and companies began to put money in for change fund. Sony gave $100 million. Warner's gave $100 million. In fact, Sony gave $200 million. They gave $100 million as Sony Music. They gave $100 million from the publishing company. Warner's gave $100 million. The Universal gave $25 million. And all this is because of the racial injustice. Ultimately, how do you see that contribution that was made by the majors, and creatively, how do you, if you have a thought at all, how do you think it should be used or applied?
Well, I know I heard about these things happening, and unfortunately, as of today, right this second, I can't justify that it has happened and where it has happened. I'm curious about that forum and that opportunity to learn what they had pledged, these amounts of money, why and where. You know.
So you're like me and most people that I know. Are you see it now as a news and soundbite, but don't know what happened with it or if it's happening at all?
Again, I won't speak prematurely because I know business takes a second to churn. And when you're talking about pledging these large sums of cash and capital influx, take a minute for the companies to do certain things and move things around. And I don't know that they designated one place because what are you paying it to Black Lives Matter? Are you giving it to the NAACP? And just pledging these funds is an act of kindness. And no one said you had to, but I'm curious about how we're walking it through with the use. And I am here on the front of it, in the forefront. I work very closely with Ben Crump and watching all his maneuvers through the industry.
Okay.
And, thanks to the author that I represent, Lolita Files, I have a relationship with Ben Crump. And, the thing is that we've come a little bit further, but we still have a long way to go. But we see light at the end of this tunnel of the world less traveled. And, I will equate our suppression as African Americans, as Negroes, as the Black native in America to what has happened, across the globe with slavery meets the Holocaust, meets the genocide of Africa, of, the Middle East. We've all had our issues in our civilized way of doing life and the cycle of life as it continues. And we can get very deep on the history lesson. But the bottom line is, can you buy us away from the trauma that has been with us? And, I think that's an important part of the conversation and dialogue for Juneteenth, because disenfranchising an entire race has been what we have, as Black men, African American individuals, Native Black people, we have been there. We're on a different side of it because we've helped on the backside of the entertainment business, but we are nonetheless, as much as any other Black man on the other side of the law, we're a part of that.
Yeah.
That truth. And, Ben says something really profound on a regular basis that I start to put into my lexicon of conversation and dialogue. And it's time for us to speak truth to power. So when you ask me, did Sony spend a $200 million? I haven't heard from John what that money is for.
Let's not put this on Big John.
No. In as much as I can put it on Rob Stringer.
So Adrian, I understand that you're all about empowerment and empowering our people with financial literacy and controlling their own destiny through the aggregation and distribution in business in general. Can you give us a sense of what that means to you, and how do you apply that?
In any business, you need to take a pro forma approach to projections, to understanding your day to day, to looking at the numbers. We want to be positioned to earn the millions in the lottery of it, but there is a substantial amount of individuals that can earn a good living, a proper living, and be functioning in our civic duties in as much as being able to pass it forward. So the learning, the processing, and then passing it forward again so someone else can, that's a full circle of our cycle. And I try to do that with artists where you know where the earnings of your dollar go from whence they've come. And, holding on to that, recycling that dollar is what is important for your ability to grow financially into wealth and your earnings to earn you into a wealthy positioning. All too often we get caught up with whom we may be associated with in the record business side. Such and such made blah, 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 X amount of dollars, and I'm down with them. Well, you are, but are you being compensated as such? And I don't look at another man's pockets and determine whether or not I'm supposed to be. I look at another person in the room and say, I can't possibly be in a room full of millionaires and be broke. So let me be in the room full of billionaires. Please, because I'm going to learn something or two about how to manage my money. What are the expectations against me? And what are the factors that I actually provide in this equation that add up? And I know I'm not going too specific, but let's just say if I'm going to make $1, how much of that dollar do I actually get to take home? And what do I do with it? Is the point of me educating the artists that I tend to work with. And, I'm proud to say that most of them are already curious enough to ask the right questions about their money, about their earnings. And so, I don't know that there's a standardized way to get rich or wealthy for that matter, but there is a standardized way to lose your money in every dime of it. Yeah. And all being a fool.
Managing the money is the other challenge, I think, that a lot of people are faced with. Whether to buy or to lease, whether they're invested in a bunch of cars or real estate or whatever, and how to manage it, how to intelligently play ball in the financial world, tax wise, investment wise. There's so much that comes into play. And if it was easy, I guess everybody would be doing it.
I think everybody can do it because money is just a simple tool. And it's getting easier to access the tooling of economy. Bitcoin, blockchain, welcome to cryptocurrency.
So, Adrian, we have a section on TAKEOFF that we do that I allow my guests or people from the audience, in this case, my guests, to ask me a question, something that you want to ask me. So, is there anything at all that you wish to ask yours truly? Not promise I'm going to answer it.
All right, I'm gonna keep it light. Who was the one that got away that you really, really like had the best relationship with, artist wise, that you were like, dang it, if we would have just been together? And that artist agreed. Ernie, man, if I'd have just rocked with MCA, or if I'd have just rocked with Ruthless, or if I'd have just rocked with, you know.
Wow. Do you really want to know that?
I really do. I really want to know. The question is,
4 got away from me.
Okay. We always get one. There are a few that get away from me, so I get it.
That we were cutting $20 million worth of A&R from our roster. You know, we couldn't sign anything, and I had to find artists to drop. And it was across the board, meaning it was Country Department, it was Uptown, it was Gasoline Alley, it was MCA, it was Nashville MCA, it was pop, it was rock, it was black music. We had to cut $20 million worth of artists from our roster. That process took us probably about maybe 4 or 5 months. I missed Aaliyah. Yeah, right. I missed Aaliyah. Barry Hankinson and I had a great relationship, but I couldn't sign her because I couldn't bring her. Because it was we due diligence. I missed Aaliyah. I missed Maxwell. I missed being able to sign D'Angelo. Yeah, no, painful. Aaliyah, Maxwell, D'Angelo. There was one other one that I missed. God, and it slips my mind now. But it's I don't like to think about it because these are all great artists.
Can I ask another one?
2 questions? Okay, go for it.
Okay, I'm still friends with Carl McIntosh.
Oh, White Shy. Yes.
There was a time when BET, okay, here, you will get this one. When Donnie Simpson was hosting BET, early BET, right?
Yeah.
There was a time when the music that was being played were all artists out of London. It was a surge of artists, Junior, Imagination, Loose Ends. There were Soul. There were all these artists coming out of London.
Junior was my act, and so was Loose Ends.
I know. I remember seeing the MCA logo on their work. My question to you is, will we see another surgence in our lifetime like that from another land?
I think it's on its way. Okay. And I think that what we're seeing now with a real spotlight, a real intellectual spotlight that we're driving, meaning people of color are driving, I think you're going to see it again, and I think it's going to come from Africa.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm guessing, but I think it's going to come from
Africa. By the way, Carl and Junior did remakes. I don't know if you know this or not, on their earlier hits. So they own the masters now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mama used to say, if you pull it up, you can hear Junior's new version of the song. And Carl is kind of re-releasing the Loose Ends project.
And did Junior have to get Kerry Gardy to get the money recaptured? Does Kerry Gardy recapture his royalties?
I don't know. I work with Kerry, so we'll see what happens.
Adrian, I just want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving me your valuable time and sharing your incredible, insightful information. Until next time, I'm going to say musically yours. Much love, my brother.
Gratitude. Thank you so much for having me.